Hour Skirmish War Games by John Lambshead. A fun, fast, card-driven war game that's perfect for modern-day conflict, like that occurring on the streets of, let's call this Landport, Oregon. As you can see, we've got a diner, we've got the Taco Bell, we've got the 7-Eleven, and we've got the cops on a mission to stop these protesters from being mostly peaceful in their town. Let's take a look at them. This is the local chapter of Anti-Bag, which stands for Anti-Bad Guys. That's how you know these are the good guys, because they call themselves the Anti-Bad Guys. If you oppose the Anti-Bad Guys, clearly you must be a bad guy. That's just how names work now. They are bankrolled by the billionaires who own the multinational corporations, who have convinced these guys that the way to get free stuff is to burn down businesses. But not just any business. Of course, the guys that bankroll them are billionaires who are invested in multinational corporations, such as the one over there in the on the left-hand side of your screen. So these protesters are going to mostly peacefully smash the windows of that diner over there. That diner is owned by a mom and pop who have been struggling to keep the lights on for the last 2 years. 20 years they've survived, and somehow they have managed, despite all of the interference, to keep their business going through a whole bunch of silliness over the last 2 years. Well, the billionaires can't have that. So the protesters down here are going to try to smash them up. Now, you'll notice that we've got in the front 4 different kinds of protesters. These come from Rebel Miniatures. My apologies to them. You've got a guy with a placard, says I love Megacorps. We've got a guy with a stick. We've got a guy with a Molotov cocktail and a guy with a rock. So the way this is going to work is that the guys that are throwing stuff only have a range of 9 inches. The Molotov cocktails have a blast radius of 2 inches, wherever that lands, and they will scatter if they miss what they're aiming at. We'll get to that in a little bit. It just anybody within that 1 inch of the point will take damage, and we're going to leave the point down. I'm going to throw a little marker. That'll be like a fire, because these are the cocktails de la Molotov, and so that'll be a fire that'll burn itself out in a turn or two. We'll figure that out in a little bit. The guys throwing rocks have a range of 9 inches, and then what else we got? The guys with clubs are bruisers, so if you're familiar with this game, that means they'll draw 2 cards when they are in melee. And of course, the victory condition is get the windows of the diner smashed, set it on fire, and you're good to go. The guys who are trying to stop them did not get the memo from the district attorney that they're supposed to let the anti-bags burn up the diner. Oops, they're going to have some splaining to do when they get back to the office. In the meanwhile, we've got a fun little game here. These are 11 bruisers. They have rifles with an infinite range. I mean, it's 36 inches. The table's only 30, so they can shoot anywhere. And they can fire twice each turn. They also have 2 cards in melee because they are bruisers. And then the guy up front here in the suit, this is the lovely detective. He has a pistol with a 6-inch range and dead shot. He draws 2 cards every time he shoots. And then, boy, is that it? Oh, he's also a leader 1. So when we check for motivation at the end of every turn, this, as long as he's on the table, these guys are going to draw 2 cards. But wait, there's a third faction. Independent media. If it bleeds, it leads. Nobody wants to be seen as responsible for bloodshed. So what we're going to do is they're going to start the game right where you see them. And let me just turn so you can see. There they are in relation to the diner. And you see that feller with the camera. There is a 45-degree arc coming off of this, what would you call it? This stand here, the figure. Anyone who is caught in that 45-degree arc cannot move, cannot shoot for the turn. It essentially freezes that whole corner of the table. Now, at the end of every turn, including the first, I am going to roll a D10, and on a 1, 2, 3, I'll move them 1 inch. On a 4, 5, 6, it'll be 2 inches. And on a 7, 8, 9, it'll be 3 inches. And on a 0, they're not going to move at all. But whichever direction that D10 points, that's the direction I will turn these guys, and they will freeze the action in that quadrant. In fact, you will not be able to move into that quadrant either. Nobody wants to get on TV. You know, nobody wants to be the next guy that faces St. Kyle situation. So that is going to add to the chaos and the fun. I think we're ready to get going. Let's set them up and we'll get moving. For deployment, we put 3 of the cops at each of the roadways. 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of them. The leader is down here in the lower left. Sorry for the wobbles. We're going to lock that in place. And then as you can see, our reporters are over there in front of the diner. They've got a hot tip that there's going to be some action. And our protesters were bussed in from out of town. No one's going to bother looking for those buses or find out who paid for those buses because why would you? They're the anti-bags. To make things easy, I have put all of the stick men on the left, all of the rock throwers in the center, and all of the Molotov cocktail throwers on the right. We have 3 additional stick men, the guys with the placards. This is where they come on, and then, this being John Lambshead's 1 hour skirmish, what we're going to do is shuffle a deck of cards, and the anti-bags are going to go first. We're going to draw 1 card. Here, listen, I will shuffle. And that will be how many action points they get. I also think I forgot to mention these guys, because they're not weighted down with armor, they are fast. So they are able to move 4 guys straight out of the gate. Because all they need to do is get up into this area and start throwing bombs at the diner, they've opted to bring 4 guys out to screen the cops over on that side. The cops draw a 2 and only get to move 2 guys. Their boys only get to move 6 inches, so we'll move a couple of these guys up, leaving 1 at the back. And then we draw another card for the protesters, and we've got 8 movement points. Now I'm going to move 8 of these guys. We'll be right back. And again, they've brought 4 guys up to the right to act as a screen, and they've brought 4 guys up to the center. 2 of their Molotov cocktail throwers are in this group. They're trying to screen these guys. Remember, these are the valuable guys that are going to allow them to achieve their victory conditions. Our next card is going to be a queen, so now the cops get to close that cordon down. And with a slight adjustment, you can see they've brought up 2 bruisers down there, 3 over here, and they brought that 3rd bruiser in the upper right down to match. Now they've got a total of 6 actions left. The way the rules work in this game, you have to move a guy until he's done, and then you start taking actions with your other figures. Well, all right, I've moved everybody kind of off camera because now it's time to do some shooting. The cops have a total of 6 action points left, and they've got a total of 1 guy. You have to move in a straight line, which is why some of these guys aren't moving their full 9 inches. We've got a shot here. We've got 2 guys that can shoot this guy. Alternatively, if I check my line of sight, the guys in the parking lot are blocked by the cars. There's no shot over here. So we got a couple of shots there. There's no shots over here. We got a couple of shots here. Again, it's if we look at these 3 guys, I guess this guy's got a shot. And then these 2 guys each have a shot. So we got a total of 6 shots, and let's just go around the horn. We're going to start over here and work our way counterclockwise. The way shooting works, again, let me just check my roster, make sure I'm doing the rules right. Remember, our cops are able to double tap, but they only get 1 card. So the way shooting works, this guy is going to take his shot at this guy with the rock. And so he draws a card and gets a 6. The guy defending draws and gets a 5, so he is put down. Bang. Now that's the first shot. Since he has a 2nd shot, he can adjust his aim, and if he's got line of sight, which is to this guy, he can take that 2nd shot, he draws a 4, and the guy with the placard draws a 3, so he falls down as well. At the end of the turn, we are going to check to see what actually happens to them. That's the first shooter. Second shooter. You know what we're going to do, though, because a joker ends the turn. We want to knock out these guys first. So we're going to move over to this bruiser. He's going to take his first shot and get an 8, and he is shooting at the nearest threat, which is this guy that he has a line of sight to. The defender draws a 6, so this guy goes down. Then he's got a 2nd shot that he can transition over to the guy with a stick. He draws a 3, stick man draws a 5, and he's okay. Then this guy, so we've done 1, 2, this is our 3rd shooter. He is firing at this guy with a stick, and he gets a 9, and the guy with a stick gets a 7. So he goes down, bang, 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 like that. 1, 2, and I don't think anybody else has a line of sight over there. So these guys have fired. That means we're going to swap back over to the second guy up there who has a line of sight to... I don't think any of those three guys do, actually. If I get down and check, this guy can take 2 shots at him. His first shot is going to be a 2, and a 9 is a miss. The second shot is a 6 versus a defense of 7. That is also a miss. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we've got 2 guys down here. This one will shoot first, and he's only got a line of sight to these guys. So his first shot will be to the stick for a 5 and a defense of a 9. He's okay. Second shot is a 3 and a defense of a 4. He's okay. And now this guy has to shoot at this stick. And he gets a 2 for his first shot. The guy's okay. He gets a 2 for his second shot, and the guy's okay. And I'm starting to wonder if there's any jokers in here. That is the end of the cops' turn. Now we're going to go with the mostly peaceful protesters, who get a total of 12 action points. We're going to bring placard up to here. 1, 2, and our 3, 4. Now, they're not moving the full 9 inches because they got to wait and see what happens to our... I think that movement is going to be critical for this game. So we've done 4 movement there. And then we're going to bring up 4. Moving in a straight line, he can come up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, they're going to need some backup. 10, 11, and I think, why don't we go ahead and bring up, let's just bring the whole gang up to the center here. They've got the strength of numbers. We got to get as many guys as close as possible. That's it for our protesters. Unfortunately, the police only get 1 action. What are you going to do with that 1 action? I think you got to take a shot. And I think this guy is going, let's see. We've got 3 guys over there. Do they have a line? They do. One of those guys is going to shoot at the placard. With his first shot, he gets a queen, and placard guy can't beat that and goes down. With his second shot, he targets the guy, the stick man right behind. He gets a king, and the stick man gets a 5. That's the end of the police turn. We go with that's a big 13. Now the protesters are cooking. Gonna be able to close this gap and really get in tight. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think the smart play here is going to be, now these guys are both they're both cocktail throwers. We're going to tuck one over here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this way they're protected from the line of sight. They're protected this way by the tree and that way by the reporters. The police are not going to shoot the reporters. Oh. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll leave these guys down here to slow up those officers. 7, 8, 9. Got to protect our guys. It's going to cost 3 inches to get over the hedge here, which allows this guy to move 6 inches to... Let's just put him right there. 11. Let's see. If he's going to go 12. You know what? Let's bring this guy right up here to the corner. And this guy, again, moving in a straight line, he's only going to be able to slide over to right here for now. And that's it for the protesters. Still trying to get into melee range. Now we get a lot of turns for the police. So, as I did before, I'm going to do the movement first. Remember, 6 inches each. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to wind up moving 6 of these guys. 3 will bring the boss man. 4. Now, this is going to cost 7. He's going to move a second time. That's all he's got. He's got a range of 6, but we need to bring him up. So that's 4, 6 inches. We'll bring him up to here, 5. And then... who else do we want to move? We'll bring this guy... let's bring one of those guys into cover. Like so. He's going to hop over the hedge, and he gets to move a total of 3 inches, so he'll stop right there. We got to check our line of sight for the reporters. It's about right there. So we're good. We're doing good now. Okay. So we moved a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. We moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's hop over here to 7. And now we have a total of 6 shots left. We want to take out the guys that are closest. He now has a good line of sight to these 2. Can he hit both of them? He can only hit the one, but it's a Molotov cocktail throw, so he's going to take 2 shots at him. His first shot is a 6. His second shot, and the defense is an ace. Aces are high for the purposes of defense. I think. I was wrong about that. Aces are only worth 1 point. So this guy goes down. Then, you know what? I'm going to back off a little bit so you can see the cards that were drawn down here. That is was that his first shot? Yes. His second shot, he no longer has a line of sight, so he loses it. Then we're going to fire with this guy. It's going to be 2 shots. Jack beats 8. He goes down. The guy standing next to him, 10, beats King beats a 10. He's still up. So then this guy, that's our third shooter, is going to have a Jack, beats a 7. This protester goes down. Second shot, Jack ties a Jack. Oh, hearts beats clubs. Protester's okay. Fourth shot, this cop, Joker, turns over. All right, now we get to do the fun bit, where we find out the reporter has been standing there. Let's zoom in tight on that reporter so we can see how far she moves and in what direction. She's going to move a grand total of 3 inches to the left as you look at it, and that is the very direction she's going to be looking. So they heard a whole bunch of gunplay and said, what's going on over there? Which is not good for the cops, because it means everybody over here, all 6 of these officers, that's these 3 up top and these 3 over on your left, they are now frozen and unable to act because they are on camera, and the last thing they want to do is have their boss call them because they committed an atrocity on camera. Likewise, with the protesters, they are trying to win hearts and minds here, and they don't want to be filmed. In fact, they're probably beating up independent reporters who are not controlled by corporate media right now. Okay, so that is the end of the turn, except we still need to check for our casualties, and the protesters have a lot, as expected. So what we're going to do, I've shuffled the cards, and we're going to turn over the cards. On a red card, oh geez, can't believe I had to look it up. Red means blood. The model is out of the fight. By the way, on subsequent terms, we will be checking for morale, but the way you check morale is you turn over a card and you add your motivation. The protesters have a motivation of 8. The cops have a motivation of 6. If that card plus that number is less than the number of casualties, you've lost the fight. Might not happen with such high motivations, but hey, I wanted a nice round 65, so I made it pretty high. And so we're going to check for casualties. We're going to go 1, 2. So the first guy is out of the fight. The second guy is still in the fight. So we stand him up and we take him out. That is 1 casualty. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 guys here. The first guy stands up. The second guy is out of the fight. And the third guy is out of the fight. So this guy stands up. These 2 guys are casualties. And then we've got 1, 2 over here. The first guy stands up. The second guy stands up. So these 2 fellas are ready for the fight, and we've got 2 more casualties down here. We're going to check the left guy, then the right. The left guy stands up. The guy on the right stands up. And I know you guys were probably thinking, man, this is a real bloodbath, but all of those guys that hit the deck and only 3 casualties. So the protesters are still in the fight. We're going to reshuffle the cards, and we're going to start turning them over again. And just as with last time, we are going to, let's see, who turned over the Joker? It was the cops. So it's going to be the protesters' turn. You heard me shuffle. I will do the cut on camera. And we'll drop these cards somewhere inconspicuous and show you that it's going to be 12 points. See our lovely Hawaiian monarch? That is Queen Liliuokalani, who gives 12 action points to our protesters, who are not going to waste any time. They have a range of 6 inches, and we're going to move both of these guys up to here. 1, 2, and we'll throw at the diner. So these guys are both packing Molotov cocktails. The first guy, we'll see if he hits. He draws a 4, and the diner defends with a 3, so that's 1 fiery token in the diner. And I'll put a fire token down there. 1. And then we'll check for the second guy, who throws with a 5, and the diner gets a king, so he misses. And let's go ahead and throw a scatter die. I think this is probably pointless. 6 inches in that direction. We'll divide by 2. 3 inches is going to put it off the table in that direction. I don't even know what I'm doing. That's 4 of our 12 action points. We've got 8 to go. Oh, I don't know why I turned that over. Oops, never mind. Ignore. Well, listen, it doesn't matter. We'll get there. 8. We are going to move a club up to here to get involved in melee. And now the way melee works. Remember that our cops are bruisers. But so are the guys with the club. So the guy with the club is going to draw 2 cards. And he's going to get a king and a 3. The cop is going to fight with an ace and an 8, and the cop loses. So the bruiser puts the cop down. And that's 2 more actions. That's 6 altogether. We're going to bring another stick guy over here, and he's going to attack. So that's going to be 8 actions. The guy with his stick draws 2 cards in the attack and gets a jack. The officer, is going to draw an ace and a 10. And now this officer goes down. We still have 4 more actions to go. We're going to bring up 1 more guy with a Molotov cocktail. And he's going to throw for a 6 for the hit. And the diner fails its defense check. So that is a second fire set in the diner. And the reporter is not turning around for some bizarre reason. The next thing we're going to do is bring... Do we have any more rock guys? We could chuck a rock. Let's use this guy. You know what? We've got 2. Let's see. He's a rock thrower and he's a Molotov thrower. Let's bring this guy up 9 inches. Remember that our protesters are fast. He's going to run up to here, and this guy is going to chuck a rock at the cop. So the rock thrower has a range of 9 inches. He's going to get a 9. Now the officer is standing behind a wall, so he gets to draw a 6, and he gets to draw another card, and that 10 saves his skin, and that is the end. That is the 12th action. Now the officers get to go, and they have a total of 6 actions. So we'll start with this guy right here. All right, so it's bad for them. This is an ugly, yep. So if we drop that down, these 3 guys can't move. So the best they can do is take a shot with this officer here, and he's got to target the closest guy. He gets he gets a 3, and a defensive 7 means the protester survives. Second shot is a 7, and the protester gets a jack, so he misses completely. Then we're going to take a shot with this guy. How many action points do we have again? Was it 3, 4, 5, 6? It was 6. Okay. 1, and then this guy's going to fire at this stick man. First shot is a queen, and a defensive 10 puts him down. So his second shot will go at that rock thrower. Hits with a 7, defends with a 2. He goes down. 1, 2. We've only used 2 of our action points so far. We're going to bring the officer, the leader, up to here, and he's going to take a shot. Now he's only got a range of 6 inches, so he might have moved too far. He does not have a shot. That's our 3rd We'll bring this officer up to take cover behind the tree, and he'll take a shot. So that's 5 actions. He's got to shoot at this bottle thrower. And a joker means the turn ends. Bum, bum, bum. Now, the protesters are still in the game. They have not taken 9 casualties yet. So we have to check for the survival action. So the morale check doesn't matter. We just need to check our casualties on both sides of the aisle, and we need to move our reporter. And honestly, at this point, it's a very good chance that the protesters will set fire to the diner. They've already got 2 Molotov cocktails in there. We'll take a look at what happens. I'm just going to keep playing it out until we get bored. Maybe another 10 minutes, maybe another turn. Let's check casualties. We're going to check 1 and then 2 for the protesters. 1 survives. This guy is out. So that's 4. The next casualties, we've got 2 officers. We're going to check the guy on the left and then the right. The guy on the left is out. The guy on the right stands up. Now he stands up. He is still in contact. And we'll put him down here behind. So we've got 4 casualties for the protesters, 1 for the cops, and we're done. Now we have to do that all-important reporter move. And we're going to get in tight to see where she wanders. 3 more inches in that same direction could be a godsend for the one. Well, actually, she lands right on the die facing this direction. Could be a godsend for the cops because that frees up. Does it free up? As you can see, these officers over here are still frozen. But this guy can now act. Unfortunately for the officers, it remains, since they drew the Joker on their turn, it remains the protesters' activation. And they're going to get a total of 11 action points, with which we're going to throw 3 more Molotov cocktails. We're already in range. The first one, 9 misses. The second one ends the turn. And once again, we're not going to check. There's no casualties. We're not going to check for morale because there's no chance anybody fails. Let's just go ahead and we'll roll that die for wandering. And this time, the reporter is going to turn her back on those officers, and she is going to look down this way, which frees up these guys, but still leaves these guys pinned right where they're at. Does she have line of sight? She does not have line of sight on either of these 2 guys. So those 3 officers are pinned. Shuffling the cards, now it's going to be the officer's turn. Once again, the protesters drew the Joker, so initiative passes to the other team. And the officers are going to get 5 actions. They're going to, we're going to start off with this melee right there. It's going to be 2 cards on the attacker. He draws a 5 and a 3. The defender is a bruiser, draws a jack and a 4. No good. 4 action points left to go. And we really need... we've got these guys over here. We're going to have to move him up to the tree. 3 action points left to go. He's going to target this cocktail thrower right there. With his first shot, he gets a 10. Defender gets a 5. He goes down. Second shot gets an 8. Defender gets a 2. Second guy goes down. Let's get that die out of there. And then, so that's the third action. We're going to bring this guy up to the corner so he's got clear line of sight, and he's going to fire a shot at this last remaining Molotov cocktail thrower. He gets a king. The guy gets a 6. There's nobody else within 3 inches, so he's done shooting. That is the end of the Peacekeeper's turn. The protesters get a total of 2 activations. And what do we got? Where's our nearest thrower? Our nearest thrower is over here. He's going to move up to the corner. Careful to stay out of line of sight of these guys. And is he in range now? He's got a range of 9 inches. He's not. He's going to have to move into the street in order to take that shot. He gets a 6, building gets a 3. That is our third wasted bottle of alcohol. Somebody could have, there's poor people wanting to get drunk all over town, guys. Officers get a jack. Let's see if they can do any good with it. We're going to start off with a guy behind the tree. He's going to take a shot at this Molotov cocktail thrower. He gets a 6. and the defender gets a 7, but he has a second shot, which is a 1 and defends on a 4. So that's no good. The second officer over here is going to take a shot. He doesn't have to move. He gets an 8. Defender gets a queen. His second shot gets a 3. Defender gets a 2. He goes down. So we've used a total of 2 of those. Oh, man. How many action points did they get? I don't think it was very many. So that's the first shot. Second shot, 7. How many points was it? I think it was 6. Was it the 7? Let's call it. I think that guy. What? Yeah, this is why it's better to have 2 decks of cards and leave one out. All right, so there was the first shot. We missed with 2. I think it was the jack, actually. I'm just going to give him the jack. They've used 1, 2. So they've used a total of 1, 2. This guy's going to move over to... Now, you can only move 3 inches. He's going to come over to the car. He does not... Oh, he does have line of sight. He can take a shot at this guy over here. So his first shot is going to be a 7 versus defending with a queen. His second shot is a 10, defending with a 4. This guy goes down. Then he's going to fire over here with an ace and a queen for defense. He hits with a 10, and defense is an 8, so he goes down. And then I think our bruiser is going to take his action, and that's the joker. That's the end of the turn. So that's what I figured. It doesn't really matter how many, what do you call it? The activations you got. If you draw a joker, it's all going to be the same. And then we've got to check. So we did our little shuffle. We got to check. We've got 1, 2, 3, and then number 4. 1 is down, 2 survives, 3 is gone, 4 stands up. So 2 and 4 stand up. These guys go out. That is now a total of 8 casualties. We've got 1, 2. 1 is gone, 2 stands up. For a total of 7 casualties for our protesters. And I think that's it. Now we got to check our ace reporter. Where are you going, sister? There are fires right behind you, sweetheart. You got to turn around. And with a 2 facing that way, she decides to move 1 inch. So we'll point her the right way. And then she moves 1 inch this way, which, it pins everybody on this side of the sidewalk. That makes it the protesters' turn. That was the police officers that drew that joker. Unfortunately for the protesters, they've only got one. Well, wait a minute. They've only got 1, 2 guys that are not cut off. Well, and they've got these guys down here. So let's take a look. So what they're going to do is retreat effectively. They're going to bring up 1, move 9 inches. Let's see how far 9 inches is. 2, 3. And as long as they stay out of the vision, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll bring a stick guy over here to slow down the police if they decide it's 6, and a rock thrower, 7. So they've got this side kind of protected. Then they've got a bomb thrower here and a stick fight over there on the right. So we're going to do the Molotov first. He gets a 9, and the diner gets a 7. So that is our 4th fire on the diner. If they get 6, then the diner's out of the fight. What we'll do is at the end of the game, we'll roll a d6, and if the d6 comes up with that many tokens or less, right? So on 1 through 4, the diner's out of the picture. If they can get 6 on there, there's no way to roll less. They're done. And then there's one other action we got to do, and that's this fight over here, which is going to pit a queen and a 6 for the protester versus a king and a 6 for the cop. So this protester goes down beneath the baton of the cop, and now the protesters have... Well, that's not... Is that true? That's it. That's all they can do. No, it's not. You know what they could do with this guy? But those guys are blocking a line of sight. They could take some offensive actions. In fact, that's what... No, they can't, because these guys are in the line of sight. They would have had to stay down here and throw rocks. So the protesters are done. Really, all they're trying to do is keep their Molotov cocktails going. The cops get a total of 10 actions. So this is where, facing in this direction, bear in mind, there's no line of sight. Our lady reporter is blocked out by the Taco Bell. So we're going to get to move a lot of police officers. And here's where I think it's probably a mistake to move people and then do actions. So they've got 10, okay? Let me leave this over here so I can remember. 10 actions. 1, that's going to cost 3. That's 4 total action points. And then he's going to double tap this guy. So that's 5 action points. He hits with an ace and successful defense. Hits with a queen, and the turn is over. So we have a grand total of 1 protester to check for casualties. We'll cut the deck, and that guy goes out of the fight. We are now up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 more casualty, and the protesters are going to have to start looking. I'm not going to zoom in. I'm just going to roll for our ace reporter lady. She's going to move 3 inches. She says, oh, hey guys, hey, cameraman, there's a fire right over there. So now our frozen arc is everything over here. The diner is protected. These guys can't move. I think that cop hiding behind the Jersey barriers can move. Tuck our ace back in. This game moves really quick, doesn't it? I've got a total of like 40 figures on the table, and we are just whipping through. The game is it's getting down to the wire, and that reporter has really made it interesting. I think without her there, this would have been really boring. It is the police officer's turn? No, because he was the only guy to go, so it is back down to the protesters, who, again, are in, they're in a bit of trouble because they don't dare launch any more Molotov cocktails. Oh, that makes it even more fun. They get 7 points. So we're going to go 1, and we're going to fight. And that's going to be Stickman gets a 7 and a 9, and the officer gets a 9 and a 3. Spades beats hearts. He goes down. We've got 5 action points left. So this guy is going to spin around and huck a rock over here. Now he hucks and gets a jack. The cop is behind a bush. Oh, he fell down because he got clubbed. So the officer loses with a 5, but because he's behind the bush, he gets a jack of clubs, and the spade wins. So he goes down. That's 1, 2, 3. We are going to bring this guy down to here for 4 out of our 7. And then for 5, he's going to take a shot at this tree over here. He gets a jack to hit. Wait, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we got 2 action points left. Jack to hit. The officer behind the tree is going to get a 10, and then he's behind a tree, and a 6. So the Molotov cocktail bursts right here. Meaning not only does that guy go down, but the officer behind that side of the tree has to check as well. And he gets an ace and a king, which does the king beats the... So the other guy is okay. But he's going to have to move out of the fire because he's within 1 inch of that. Okay? And then we got 2 more action points left to go, and we're going to take advantage of those by... This guy is going to throw a rock at the cop. He gets a 5 to hit. The cop gets an ace and a 4. Oh, so he gets conked on the head. 1 more action point left that we can use. I guess we'll move this guy into cover. He can't throw the Molotov cocktail, but if he can tuck in behind that hedge, he at least is protected from these officers. Now, the officers can't shoot, but these guys have free reign. And the officers are going to draw a lot of action points. So we've got 3 guys here that can come into position with lots of options. It's going to cost 4 action points to get this guy up to the corner. And that's where he's going to stop. Oh, you know what? That's not going to do it for him. He can move, well, okay. How do we do this? He's going to have to move 6 inches to here, and then 6 inches will put him right there. But he's blocked out. Let me shift the camera and show you what's going on. This dumpster blocks his line of sight. Not to worry, though. He's got a buddy that can come up just behind this tree here for 1 point. And he does have, I think the dumpster, no, he does have a clear shot at this guy. I don't think he's going to take it, though. So that's 4-8. We got one more guy we want to move up. Yep, and this guy is going to be able to get up to the dumpster. Now, he's not going to be able to take a shot, but at least he's close enough. So now this guy is going to take his shot at this protester. And he's going to draw a 2 for the first shot, and the protester goes down immediately. There's no cover for that one. And I think that's about all the officers can do. No, there's one more thing we can do. Let me shift my camera a little bit, because we have, whoops, sorry about that. Our officer leader is going to, where is he? Right here? Does he have a shot? He does not. He's going to move over to the corner. And then he's got a shot at this rock thrower. It's less than 6 inches. He gets a 4. The rock thrower gets a joker, turns over. We gotta shuffle the deck back up. And we got some casualties to check here. Do we? Yeah, we got one cop and, no, we got 2 cops and 2 protesters. So we'll cut the deck. I'm not gonna do a full shuffle. And we're gonna check this cop is out of the game. And this protester is back on his feet. Then we've got a cop over here. We're going to check this officer is out of the game. That's the 3rd one out. And I thought we had, we got this protester right there who stands back up. That's not quite the end of the turn. With 3, 6, 7, 8 protesters, still no need to check our motivation, but we do need to check our reporter. She's going to move 3 inches directly toward the fire. In fact, she might actually wind up in the fire. Not smart, sweetheart. Not smart at all. But the important thing is, they're still looking at the diner. The best defense that the protesters have is secrecy. They don't want anyone to know what they're doing. Well, that's the kind of thing that good guys do, right? Try to keep your actions secret. And unfortunately, with the 6, 7, oh, you know what? It's only 2 inches, though. We got to move these guys back 1. It's only 2 inches. So the diner is now under surveillance, and that complicates lives for the protesters. Whose card was that on the Joker? The leader of the officer is the one that drew that joker. So we are going to cut the deck. So it is going to be the protesters who get to go first again. Not that it's going to do them a whole lot of good. They get a total of 8 action points to start with. So what do we want to do? We need to bring up cover. One guy here. Any more? We got a bomb thrower there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, boy, he can move 9 inches, right? Let's check this. We wanna try to keep. He's protected by the reporter, isn't he? Oh no, he's not. 6, 7. This officer has a clear line of sight. In fact, there's 2 of them, so we're going to move up a couple of guys. And then we have one more action. So this rock thrower is going to target the leader and hit with a queen. The leader draws a 4 and a queen of spades. Spades beats clubs. Protester's turn is done. Officers get a total of 6 action points. And they are... let's start by targeting. So we got one guy here behind the Taco Bell who's going to shoot 1, 2. Well, first shot is going to be king versus defensive 2. He goes down. Second shot, he can target this guy. That's going to be a 10 versus an ace. Second guy goes down. Now this guy is going to shoot with, and I should probably put we got 6 action points. So that's 1 shot, 2 shot. The shot is a 3. That's a miss. And then the second shot is a 3. And that's another miss. So that's 2 of our 6. 2 of our 6 action points. We've got 4 more to go. And we fired with this officer, this officer. We got one more officer behind this tree who is going to fire at this guy. First shot is 7 versus a 2. That guy goes down. 1, 2, 3. We got 3 more actions left to go. We're going to move this bruiser in to fight this rock thrower. Now the bruiser is going to, this will end the turn. He's going to draw a 7 and a 5 versus the rock thrower's 9. The rock thrower wins. He goes down, and that is the end of the officer's turn. The protesters now get to go. They've only got 4 actions to take. So we'll start by charging the leader. And that's going to be 2. So we got 2 actions left. Joker ends the turn. Look at that. We'll put these guys out of the way because we don't know. We got 1 casualty over here to check. And the black means this officer stands up to fight again. Then we're going to go 1, 2, 3 on the casualties. 1, 2, and 3. They all stand up. Man, look at that. These guys are tough, aren't they? What's the last thing we have to do? You got it. Check that reporter. She's going to move a total of 3 inches. She's going to turn this way, and she's going to say, I wonder what's going on over here in the parking lot. Which is not good for the police officers and not good for the restaurant. The question is how many of the Molotov cocktail throwers are left on the table. The cops have been trying to focus their efforts on those guys, but by the same token, the protesters are not stupid. They have been protecting those Molotov cocktail throwers. And of course, they've gotten some really lucky results. So, moving on to the next turn. And again, at the end of this turn, the protesters still do not have enough casualties to have to check morale. The protesters get to go 12 times. And we're going to start with 1 Molotov cocktail. With a 3 and a 10, that's a miss. We've got a second Molotov cocktail. With a 5 and a 7, that's a miss. That queen there. Do we have one more that we could be throwing? Yep, we got a third one right here. And we're going to, you know what we're going to do with him? We're going to bring him, we got to bring him to safety somehow. He's going to have to move. He can move 6 inches if he leaps over that hedge. So I'm going to move him 6 to there, and then he's going to move one more time. He's going to come around to the back. I guess he's got to move in a straight line. So he's going to move to there before he throws. Now that costs him 4. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 for the toss. He gets a 7, and the building gets a 2. So that is going to be our 5th. And then we still have 5 more action points to go. We'll do a melee there, you think? Now, let's do a melee down here. We want to take out that leader because we got the advantage there. Jack and an 8, defending with an ace, the leader goes down, a kerbonk. You know, and I think there's something, I think I might be doing that wrong. I think those guys might just be completely out of the game. Let me double check those rules this late in the day. Yeah, I've been doing that wrong. It turns out the attacker gets to draw 2 cards, and when you win a melee, that's the end of the game, the end of the turn. So we have a melee over here that we have to resolve. Now we have no ongoing melees, and that's a joker. Whew, it kind of saves me from some trouble there, doesn't it? We don't have any casualties. We don't have any reason to check for win-loss scenarios. The only thing we got to do is move our ace cub reporter 3 inches around, well, I guess we'll just slide her around this way. And that's going to be far enough that it stops this guy from throwing anything. Whose turn is it? We had a lot of points left to go for the cop, so it is the protesters' turn, if memory serves. And the protesters are going to get a total of 11 actions. All right, good. So that's going to be 1, and we'll throw that cocktail. 6, 4. Oh, you know what? There's a cop over here that we didn't check for casualties, and the red joker means he's dead. And I probably should have thought that one out, shouldn't I? Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and just redo the turn? Nothing changes. Leave the lady there. Big oops. But whatever. With 5, I think this game is pretty much over, right? You know, with 5 action points, we're gonna get to throw 1. Oh no, you know that would have ended the turn, and because without anything else happening, the next card was gonna be a joker. So what we'll do is we'll call that our. We got to check our ace reporter first, see where she goes. 5 inches, she's going to wander off the table. Well, all right. Good job, lady. There's a whole news story here. Oh, yeah, no, that actually makes sense. Wait. There's something uncomfortable to report? I better get out of here before the boys in New York City get mad at me. The cops have 5 action points to spend. And we still have... So we're going to... Now that I see how deadly combat is... We're going to move into melee here with this guy, and that's going to be 1. He draws a total of 3. Yeah, boy, see how bad I was doing this? That's going to be a total of 3, and so he goes down. That's 9 casualties. All right, now that we know what we're doing, we're going to bring this guy out, and he's going to fight with this protester. And he's, again, the bruiser gets to draw 3 cards. He's going to get the king and the queen. The defender gets a jack, so he goes down. And now that the police have woken up, I think this fight's pretty much over. We are going to have to do this melee over here. The attacker is the cop, who gets a jack, 6, and a 4. The joker ends the turn. And now we do have to check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 casualties. So what I'm going to do is shuffle these up. And on an ace, I think it's just on an ace. So we're going to add 8 to this score, cut the deck, and on a 4, the protesters are up for 1 more turn. So we'll do another turn and see what happens. That was the police turn. So it's going to be the protesters' chance to go. They're going to get 3 actions, and they're going to have a total of 1, 2, well, let's do the first one. This guy throws his Molotov and misses. This guy throws his, and with a 3 and a 7 misses. And then we got one more guy throwing his with a king and a 9. And that's kind of what I figured. A 9, that's going to be the 6th fire bomb thrown into the mom and pop diner. And look at that! It turns out that the loser is a healthy society. Yeah, the protesters won, but really, ultimately, at the end of the day, in a situation like that, in a situation like this, where we're deciding public policy based on who's burning down restaurants, that leads to things like public policy being decided by who can honk their horns the loudest. Ultimately, once public policy is decided on the streets, we all lose. So, hey, good job, anti-bags. Boy, you sure fulfilled you earned your money today. Keep it up. Stay safe out there, guys. I'm praying for you.